Hi, I have students all the time, students' parents all the time asking, we want to get Junior a, new guitar or whatever, start him with his first guitar. So I'm going to address all of the important issues to look for when you're buying that first guitar for somebody or, first step up from uncle's, acoustic guitar that he had up in his attic for the last 30 years that was junk to begin with, and now it's, super old, ancient junk. So I'm going to go through in this video and explain the important things to look for. I'm going to be talking about an electric guitar, but a lot of the stuff, most of the stuff, also applies to an acoustic guitar too. I'm going to try to go sort of in order of what I feel is important, the biggest things, and then moving on down. And make sure that you subscribe so that you don't miss any cool information. Subscribe to my channel, lots of guitar stuff and some, wacky, just fun things too. And, like the video, whatever, feel free to share if you know anybody. Christmas times, holidays, everything's coming up. So this would be a hopefully very helpful video for people. So hope it helps. Let's take a look at all the different things. Okay, so let's get the first thing, the first big thing out of the way is price. Basically, here's how the pricing for guitars works. There's something called like a manufacturer's list price, suggested list price, whatever. And nobody ever pays that price. It's some sort of, I don't know, bookkeeping, finance kind of game that, they play. So different guitar manufacturers set different prices and different price structures, but this is just a general. You could do a little bit of internet searching to refine this information that I'm going to give you. But basically, and I wrote it down so I don't forget stuff, so if I look a little off camera, I apologize. Basically, the price is like 60 to 70% of the list price. So if the list price is, say $330, $329.99, whatever, $330, then you can expect to pay like $200. Okay, and that's the actual price, the street price that they call it. So if the list price is $330 and they're like, oh well, we're on sale, we're putting this on sale for $250, you're not getting a deal. You're paying $50 more than you should. So, definitely do a little bit of internet research and check prices at a few different online retailers, Musician's Friend, Sweetwater, Musicians Instrument Supply Company, something like that. There's a few, American Instrument Supply, something like that. There's a few of them, and I'm sure, there's more popping up all the time. But that's basically, you should expect to pay 60 to 70% of the manufacturer's list price. So when a store says, oh, we're having a 30% off sale, you're paying 70% of list price. That's the normal price, or slightly more than if that manufacturer has a lower percentage. I always suggest going the route of used, but that has some issues too. Used, you're going to pay about half of the street price. So if a guitar is $330 list price, expect to pay about $200. And for used, even if it's in great condition, expect to pay $100 or a little over, $110, something around there. It could be 50, 60% of the actual price. So you save some money, but the problem is you need to definitely know what you're looking for. If you buy a new guitar from a reputable dealer, if there's something wrong, there's some sort of a warranty. They may, just be like a 90-day warranty or 60-day, whatever. But if you bring it home, bring it to your students, your kid's teacher, and, the teacher looks at it and goes, oh, blah, blah, blah. You can return it and just get another guitar, or they'll fix it, or whatever the issue is. So that's a new instrument, that's sort of a nice thing. But if you already know some instruments, if you know a little bit about guitar, or if you have a friend that can go with you, to check out a guitar, then used is a great way to go because you can save more money. Then, if you buy, say, a guitar for $100 and, your kid plays it or you play it, for a little while, and a year down the road you say, I'm going to step up again, you paid $100, you could probably sell it for $100. So, no harm, no foul kind of a thing. So let's take a look at the actual things to look at on a guitar. A very important thing, especially for kids, is the looks of a guitar. So if you're going to buy somebody a guitar, okay, you want it to be a guitar that they'll want to pick up and want to play. If it's sitting in the corner of their room and they look at it and have no desire to touch it, then the guitar was a waste. So definitely take that into consideration. Maybe, like a 13-year-old boy may not want a hot pink guitar. An 8-year-old girl may not want one with like male superheroes on it or something. Definitely you want to look for something that they'll want to pick up and be inspired to actually play. A great thing to look for is like a fairly plain type guitar. This is black, and you can always decorate it with stickers. For kids, that's a great way to go because they can decorate it with stickers, and then with a little bit of peeling and rubbing, with usually something like what is it called? Rubbing alcohol, something like that. You can usually get the stickers off pretty easily, and wipe down the guitar and everything, and put on all new stickers. So they can put on stickers to go with holidays. They could put on stickers, changing it as they, as their interest changes, stuff like that. So that's always a great option, some stickers. And then it makes the guitar really their personal guitar, and a lot of times that will help inspire them to pick it up and want to play. So, definitely consider the looks of the instrument. I think that's the first thing. Okay, so we got looks out of the way, price out of the way, of course. Now you want to just take a quick look over the whole guitar and make sure, nothing looks obviously wrong. If knobs are like they're supposed to turn, but if they're like super loose or something, like this, these are all fine. But if something's really loose or you turn them and something feels weird, unlike the other three, or however many knobs, switches should all work. There shouldn't be loose parts. On this guitar here, a lot of things are screwed on. On the back, this thing's screwed on. Let me turn the volume down. The neck is bolted on. All these screws, none of these should be loose. If any of them are loose or anything, makes you at all concerned, ask the seller. If it's a store, they'll take care of it. If it's a person selling it used, they should be able to take care of it. Or you could knock some price off of it. Almost everything on an electric guitar like this, where everything's screwed in, is fixable and or replaceable, and usually not that expensive, especially if it's just like a loose nut or a loose bolt or a screw or something like that. So that's the first thing to look at. Take a look at everything and make sure that it works. So just even if you don't know how to play, just if you turn the volume up on an electric guitar, you should start hearing something out of the amp. If the knob goes like, it makes all kinds of crazy sounds, it can be fixed. Probably just a squirt of like WD-40 or some sort of contact cleaner, but you might be able to knock some price off, whatever, or have them take care of it and fix it. So just make sure that things work. All the knobs on this type of a guitar, on most electrics, all the knobs don't work for every single position of the switch. So don't be concerned, if you go Okay, and then go, that doesn't seem to do anything, because it doesn't. Here it will. Okay, now it's changing the sound a little bit. So don't worry too much about that. Whoever's selling it should be able to explain what all the things do. So that's the first, just a visual inspection, check everything. Okay, now let's take a look at the next thing you have to, check out. Okay, so like I said, almost everything on the guitar can be fixed or replaced or whatever. Okay, but if you're going to buy a guitar for 150 bucks, do you really want to spend 200 bucks to have things, fixed or taken care of? Now you're into a guitar that was worth 100 bucks, you're into it for like 350, 300, 250, 350. You don't want to do that. So a couple things to look for. This plastic piece here is called the nut on a guitar, and what it does is it holds the strings up at this end here by the headstock and lifts them up off of these metal little bars under the strings that are called the frets. So this is very important to the feel of a guitar, and let's face it, you don't want to buy a guitar for somebody that's going to be difficult for them to play. You want it to be a joy to play, easy to play. That way they're, excited to play. It sounds good. Okay, so the string itself, and I know that I'm not going to be able to show this on the video, but the string itself comes out of the slots in this nut. It needs to clear all of these metal frets. Okay, down here, the strings are going to be up a little further, and that's normal. They're closer here, up further here. But down here, we worry about this, taking care of how high or low the strings are. Up here, this isn't going to have much of an effect. This is the bridge. So up here, what I like to do is, first, just make sure that the string is clearing that little metal bar, that first fret, the very first one. Okay, if you press down here at what's called the 3rd fret, between the 2nd and 3rd metal bars, the actual frets, that wood in the middle, if you press down there and check, that string should just about be touching that very first fret. Okay, and you can press down and see, and you see the string moves just like a hair, tiny. Okay, if it does that, then this nut is low enough. Okay, so what you want to do then is check each string and make sure that they come out clear. Okay, you don't want any, I'm going to do this artificially, so don't pay attention to the left hand, okay, but you don't want something, hear how that has like a rattle? You want it to be nice, clear note. Okay, so that's the nut. That's the first thing, and that's something that really you need to send out to have fixed if it's, something wrong with it. And, we want to avoid that. Okay, so that's the first thing. Take a look at the nut. So now, moving on. Okay, now the next thing that you want to check out is that there's no real issues with the neck of the guitar. That's this part here. Okay, so what you do to play a guitar is you press down on each string, different strings, whatever, between the 2 metal frets, and then you pluck that string. Okay, to get different notes. So what you can do is check all of the strings, and this might take a minute or two, but if somebody wants to sell the guitar, they'll let you do it. Okay, and just play each one. All the way up. Okay, up as far as you need to go. Okay, actually go up as far as you can go, but usually, like on this thickest string, people aren't going to play on these very highest frets. But as you saw, all of those notes came out clear. Okay, if you start getting things like, sort of like dead notes or buzzing or things like that, it could be an easy fix. This here, I'm not going to get into it, but this here can be adjusted to take care of that a lot of times. But sometimes there is a bigger issue. So that's something, that you might want to be concerned with. If you think you can handle it, do an internet search, see what needs to be done. If you think you can handle it, knock some bucks off the price, whatever, or have them fix it, whatever you want to do. So you want to do that on all 6 strings, and I know it takes a minute or two, but making sure that none of them, are buzzing and making wacky sounds and stuff. So that's something to definitely take a look at. And moving on. Okay, so pretty much that's, everything that we need to look at. The height of the strings at the nut. You want to make sure that it's low enough, but not too low that things are buzzing. The string height off of the fretboard, it should be, low enough that somebody can easily press down, okay? And you can, Google a normal height and stuff, but the height off of the frets, really should be, 2 or 3 or 4 millimeters tops. If you're looking at it and it's like 1/4 of an inch or something, then that's a problem, okay? You can always ask somebody, if you don't know, ask whoever's selling it, could you play a couple things? I don't know much about guitar. And, watch, and if it looks like they're playing and it looks like they're playing easily and the guitar sounds good, so they're sitting there playing and they're, whatever. Sorry, a little out of practice. My pick slinger isn't cooperating with, there we are. So. Slightly out of tune too. Ask them to play some chords, ask them to, play a little, noodle around a little bit. And if it looks like they can play it easily enough, then, it's probably a decent playable type guitar. So that's another thing to look for. With all that being said, even a brand new guitar could use what's called a setup, and I have a video explaining, a couple of things that you can do to set up a guitar to play better. But, if you're buying a guitar, especially a fairly inexpensive one for a starter or sort of the next small step up, you don't really need it to play immaculately, all the fine tuning, and we're talking like fractions of a millimeter fine tunings and stuff. You just want something playable. So I think we've addressed the main things here, and this should help somebody pick out a guitar and steer them in the right direction, hopefully. So I hope this video helped. Be sure to subscribe so you don't miss any of my great videos, and share it, why not? And click the like thing, and comment if you want, only if they're good comments though. And that's it. So hopefully this helped.